Hi guys, I'm Michelle Colo and I help educators, teachers, parents, and caregivers save a little time and focus on what they really truly love. If you don't want to worry about a DTR sheet and printing it and all that trouble, just use sticky notes. The main components you want to include on a sticky note, make sure you convey this to your staff too, so that way it's consistent across the board. You want the date, because that's important, whether you want to know it was this month, last month, the first 9 weeks, whatever. If you're inputting the data quick enough or efficiently enough, it won't be as big of a deal, but make sure you put the date on there. Date, the staff member that's collecting it, the skill or what you're going to be tracking. So whether it's identifying sight words, identifying coins, locating body parts, compliance training, whether they sat for 5 seconds, communicating with a picture schedule or picture exchange. So whatever that skill is, make sure you write that down. So date, person tracking, the skill, and then you're going to track if you got it, if the student got it correct or incorrect. If you're really good at the prompting and cueing hierarchy, include that in there on your data sheet. If not, just put a plus or a check for correct and a minus for or a 0 for incorrect. As long as your system is somewhat understood by everyone in your unit and is universal to your classroom, then you're good. Mine are pluses for correct because I like to write the minus as if it's incorrect, and then if they get it correct, I can go through and put the vertical line for the plus, so then it's independent or correct. That's just how I track most simultaneously. And the freebie data sheet is down below if you want to grab that too, and you can track the prompting and cueing hierarchy, and then you can look and see, okay, they're really mastering identifying penny with a verbal prompt. I need to move it to a gestural or a visual prompt now and see if they can get it more independently. So it encourages prompt fading if you're tracking those prompts, but I get it, it does take more time, more energy, and all the things. How do we take all those data sheets, sticky notes, whatever, anecdotal notes, and put them into a digital format? Well, every time we have a spare moment, it's usually about every week, we take a stack of those, we scan the student's QR code, and the QR code takes us to a specific Google form, and then we can click on the student. We can input that data related to the student's specific goal. We can also track which accommodations or assistive technology is being used, and then at the IEP we can pull all those and say these are working well for the student and they're showing progress because we're implementing these consistently. After we're done inputting the data from the documented sheet to the Google form, I put a check, an X, or a line through that data sheet to know that it has been input and we'll have to look at it again. I do keep them all in like a Ziploc baggie each 9 weeks, so that way I have them just in case, but it's better than binders full of data sheets, which is what I've had in the past. Now, the hard part is mostly done. Your data is now digital. Your Google form can take it and put it into an Excel sheet, and then you've got all of those averages of those data collections in the Excel sheet. You can average them together, you can sort them, you can search them. Searching is my lifesaver. Control F, man. Control F to find how many trials that they worked on a penny for. Control F to see how many times they needed reminders. Control F to see how much they're using their communication device. So all of that will be documented because you've been putting on your data sheet and you put it into the Google form. So then when I'm averaging all of the data points for the first goal, I go through the Google form responses and find all of the goal 1 data points, average them together, and that's the 9-week average. I can also look and see trends on how the student is progressing or regressing. So if we need to implement new strategies, remove some support, things like that, we can quickly and effectively manage their progress or regression based on the utilization of this tool. You now have access to useful data at your fingertips, and it's awesome. And the last cool thing about using this system is now that you have all of the 9 weeks averages in, you can go through and see about ESY qualifications. So in the state of Texas, they have to have regression over like a 9-week period that shows that they're not regaining those skills to qualify for ESY, or they have to have like severe injurious or self-harming behaviors or danger to other people. That's a whole other topic. We're looking at just academic regression. So you can look and see from the first 9 weeks, the second 9 weeks, did they maintain that skill? Did they regress or did they show progress? And if they showed progress, then they don't qualify. If they're regressing and continuing to regress, then they would qualify. It's so easy. So when that parent asks you, does my kid get ESY this year? And then you're like, oh God, do they get ESY? I don't know. I haven't looked at the data. I don't remember the data. I hate to tell them no, even though they get it every year. But then you can say, no, they're showing amazing progress, which is so good. Or they're really struggling in reading, and I would suggest that they have reading ESY, which would only be a short amount of time each week for summer school. So you can be very specific with your answers because of your data.